Hi everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I created this lovely Deco mesh Christmas hat. Alright, so the first thing I want to do to create the shape of my Christmas hat is to use these wire hangers for the base. Now I'm going to use one of these for what is the bottom of my hat, or the brim of my hat, and then I want to create a triangle coming upward like that. So I think I'm going to use two more hangers and do the pieces, one coming up like that and another this way. Now keep in mind these pieces are going to be cut off. Okay, so first I need to cut these off, and I'm going to give them a little bit extra so that I can use that to wire on each other, and I'm also going to give it a little bit extra down here so that I can wire it down to here. So let's cut these first. So I'm going to take these wire cutters that I have here and just give it a couple of inches right there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other hanger. Okay, so this is what I'm going to have now, this particular piece right here. And then I can straighten this out if I have to. But I want to hook it up on here somehow. Let's put it underneath here. And then I'm going to use my little pliers to bend that together. But first I need to cut out the other piece that goes like that to make sure that they're going to be in the right position. So let me cut that out and I shall be back. Okay, so now I have these two pieces cut out and I've overlapped them right up here. And there we go. I think that looks really nice. It's a nice little shape. This particular shape of hat, or you know, if you're going to be using these hangers to create the shape, you can use it for a witch's hat, you can use it for a scarecrow hat, whatever type of hat you want to do, whether it's a birthday party or any other occasion. So I think this is going to be a good idea to use these hangers. So now let's try and get these so that it is wired down over here. And I do have some floral wire right here that I can use, but I'm going to attempt first to bend this to create a tighter fit right here. So just bend it like that. Let's bring this bit out so we can get it through the hanger. This bit underneath it like that. It's going to be something like so. And then we can just kind of press it together to tighten it right there. Okay, so now I want to do the other side, and now it's getting kind of, it's not laying flat here, so I'm just gonna, you know, maneuver this so that it lays a little flatter like that. Okay, we'll worry about making sure this is attached, you know, better down here in a moment. First I want to take this other piece that I'm going to put like that, do the same thing and bend it and create that tighter loop like that. And then if you have to use some pliers, use that. Now I know when I loop it through, it's going to make this go a little crooked, so I'll just have to straighten that out just like I did this. So let's get that on there first. There we go. And now twist this so that then I can have these two together. Okay, so now that I've got these there, this is a pretty good deal. So now what I want to do is I want to get some of this wire and wire right here so it doesn't move from here, because if I try to lift this up, it's going to do this. And I don't want that. I want this part to stay like that. We're going to wire it up right here, so I'm just going to cut some wire. And then I'll just cut as much as I need, but I'll just do little bits at a time. So first I'm going to grab these two little curved ends here and wire them together. Okay, so now once I have it all wired together like so, then I can go ahead and take the little ends of the wire and twist them. And if I have to trim them, I will. And then just wrap them around the rest of the wiring if you want. Okay, so now that I have that, I can take either some E6000. Let me go ahead and fix this first. I can either take some E6000 glue, some super glue or something, and put that right here where the wire is so it doesn't move around on me. In the meantime, I'm going to use my hot glue gun. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to let that dry before I attempt to do anything else. Okay, so while I'm letting that dry, it needs a little more drying time. I'm going to go ahead and move on and get some more wire, and then wire it right in these little sections, and then also down here, just to keep these bits from sliding around. And then add some glue there as well. Like I said, use some E6000 or some super glue, something a little bit better than what I'm using. Okay, so before I glue these little bits here, what I'm going to do is, because I want this brim to be about so wide here, I'm going to need this wire down here as well, because I want to put some mesh on there. So I'm going to actually squeeze this down. So you could actually cut off the little hook here or leave it on there. So I'm just squeezing it. So I want that brim to be about so wide, and I want it to be the same all the way across. Okay? Okay, so now that I've thought about it, I've decided that I do want to cut off this little hook here, because I do plan on decorating the front of the hat here. So I want this to be in front rather than behind. So this is not going to serve me well as a hook. So I'm going to just cut this off, because even though I'm going to put some decoration on here, I don't know if my decoration is going to be high enough to cover this. So I'm just going to cut off this bit right here. Okay. Now keep in mind, I am inventing this as I go. So this is the steps that I'm using. Now you could also take this, and if you want to bend it downward, use your muscle or use some pliers to bend it down. You go right ahead. Otherwise, leave it like that. And I think I'm going to leave it there because I think I can cover that up. Okay. I just thought that with the hook up here was a little too high. So I didn't want to have to worry about having to cover it up if I didn't need to. Okay, so now I'm going to wire it down a little bit more now that I know that I've got this shape the way that I wanted. This is well, you know, attached up here, and it is well attached here. So now I'm just going to attach it down in this area. Now I was bending it, so I don't want to bend this upward either. I just want to get this on there. And I can just wire it however I need. And I'll do the same over here. And I shall be back. Alright, so now I have my hat base here, made with 3 wire hangers. And it is pretty sturdy. It's not coming apart. Like I said, use some E6000 glue. Let it dry overnight. Make several of them if you want. Let them dry overnight so you get a really good bond. Now I'm just using my hot glue gun because this is just a project for my video. But if you're going to sell them, make sure that you make them nice and sturdy. Okay, so this length here, if you want to know, is 16 inches. From here to here, it's also 16 inches. And then from here to here, I've already measured it, and it's also 16 inches. By the way, this whole thing is 18 inches long. Now, if you want to know the height coming from the center there, now if I was to consider that this is maybe a little bit straighter, it's about 14.5 inches in height. Okay, so those are my measurements on my wire base here. Okay, so now I want to decorate my hat, and I want to cover it with either some fabric, or I've got some Deco mesh right here, or I could use a nice thick ribbon, or even a thinner one if you want. And you can use any style of ribbon that you want. If you want to go for a burlap ribbon or just a fabric ribbon or silk, use those. I'm going to go ahead and opt for this mesh that I have here in red. So that is what I'm going to wrap around this top part right here, going behind this and wrapping this wire part. Okay, so let's get this mesh opened up and get to decorating. Alright, to start decorating my base here, I'm going to take my Deco mesh and just grab the end like that, a piece of wire, twist it around, and then twist it onto this top curve here. And don't worry about the end right now, because we're going to end up covering this right here with a pretty bow and some white mesh to create a pom-pom look at the top of our hat. So now all we want to do is we want to take our mesh and start wrapping it around. And you might want to take this mesh, because this one is kind of a wide, it's about 6 inches wide. And when you're wrapping it around, maybe fold it in half as you go to give you a little bit more coverage. But make sure that you're also pulling it tight as as you go around, it's easier for me to lift this up and bring it around like that as I go along. This is going to get all twisted over here, so just keep that in mind. So just keep doing that, wrapping around to make sure that you're covering the hanger underneath, that it won't show. You might see a little bit of a shadow, but that's okay. We can cover that up if you want, or I'm just going to continue wrapping it now. If you don't like this look, like I said, you can use a ribbon such as this. You can use a solid one if you don't want to use one with a pattern. Let me just show you what that one looks like up close. And you don't have to worry about this whole thing where this wire is possibly showing through. Okay, so let me continue wrapping, and I'm going to continue wrapping all the way down. When I get to this part here, I'm going to make sure that when I go across here that I go under it, okay, and I wrap it up. So I'll be back right before I finish doing that. Okay, so I'm coming now to the bottom part where I'm going to reach this here. I don't want to go beyond this, just to right here, but I have this in the way, so I want to make sure that I go under it as I come around. Okay, so I've also been adding glue here and there along the wire of the hanger so that I can get my mesh to not slip around so much on me. I'm really liking the effect that it's giving it. So I'm going to show this up close to you so you can decide if you want to use mesh or if you would prefer to use a ribbon. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. And I'm going to put some glue here. Go underneath this. Okay, so now that I've gotten to this point, and I'm not going to worry too much because I'm going to be putting some ribbon and deco mesh here, so I know it's going to cover a lot of this up. So I just want to finish this up with one more wrapping. There we go. One more right here. This will be the last. Go underneath this. And then I can trim it right here. Leave enough of an end there so that then you can take another piece of chenille and wrap around, and then use that to wrap onto the metal of the hanger here. And then you can just take this little piece and tuck it in back here. Get some glue so it doesn't move around. Some glue down here. A little bit there to keep that mesh in its place. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I can trim this off a little bit. Okay, so on to the next step. Alright, so to do the brim of our hat, I'm going to make some little bundles with my mesh and my ribbon. So I'm going to take my red and my white mesh, and I want to measure out about 6 inches of mesh. Now, I want to make sure I cut this one straight because it's not. So let's cut that nice and straight. You can cut 6 or 8 inch. I think I'm just going to go with 6 inch. So I'm just going to give you an example, and then you can build from there and decide how much you want to put in each of your little bundles. I'm just calling them like little curly bundles. Okay, 6 inches of this. I'm also going to cut, let's see, let me make my little curly. Yeah, about 6 inches as well. My mesh is on the edge part, this right here to this end. It's 6 inches, okay? So I'm going to cut my ribbon at 6 inches as well. A little bit bigger won't hurt. So I'm going to do these 2 large ribbons. Don't have to be perfect. And then I've got the smaller ribbon here also, and I'm going to cut it 6 inches. So I'm going to take all of my pieces of ribbon and give them some nice ends by doing a little bit of a dove cut, a little dovetail cut, like that, on both ends of all of my pieces. So let me do these. All right, so now that I've got my little pieces cut that I want to put into one bundle, I'm going to take my mesh and I'm going to curl it up, you know, along the raw edges, so that I have these nice edges on the edge here. Wow, that's that's a lot of edge that I talked about. So just curl them up like that. Put them together. Gather your ribbons. Put them together. I'm going to put this one underneath this one actually. I also want to make sure that I have the pretty side up, and this looks the same on both sides actually. This one definitely is the right side. So you're just going to add however many ribbon pieces you want to put on there, however many deco mesh. It could be just ribbon or it can be just deco mesh. It is up to you. So I'm just going to take a piece of a chenille stem and wrap it around and just twist it one time so you have enough little tail here. So you might want to cut your chenille stems in half. I already had these pieces pre-cut. I had cut a 12-inch piece into 3 pieces, but I'm going to go ahead and use them. I'm just going to have to make sure that I have enough here that I can wire around. So I want to make a bunch of these. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to need yet, but I will let you know once I have these all cut. Now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of twisting things so that it's a little more open. But this is what my little curly bundle looks like, or my little ribbon bundle. Okay? So let me make some more of those and I shall be back. Alright, so I have completed 18 bundles and I've got one already on the hat. So I place it right in the middle, right along here, right there. And then I've poofed it out, so I've pulled the red diagonally, and the white diagonally, and the red ribbon diagonally, and the white ribbon diagonally, and so forth. So that's what I have. So I've decided that I need 9 on the top and 9 on the bottom. So I've got one right here in the center, so I'll put 4 here, 4 here. That'll be 9. And then I'll grab another, put it right in the center. Let me go ahead and tie that on now. Tie it on nice and tight. Bring it forward. Again, I'm going to pull the red diagonally and the white also. Then the red ribbon and then the white ribbon, making sure the right sides are facing upward, and so forth. So that's what I have so far, and I think that looks really pretty. It's filling it up really nice. So I'll go ahead and put 8 more on the bottom, 8 more on the top, and then I'll see if I need anything to fill it up anymore. Otherwise, that is what I'm going to continue filling. Okay, here you can see I turned this around and then I have been putting the bows underneath and tying it from the back here. So I've got 4 on one side, 1 in the middle, 4 on one side. So now I just want to do it to this bottom bit, and I shall be back when that is done. Okay, so here you can see the whole bottom part is done. I actually ended up making 1 extra, so I actually have 19. So I have 9 across the top and then 10 at the bottom, just to kind of make it move a little bit more towards the corners over here and make it look a little bit fuller. And there we go. Now you could opt to just do all white mesh on here and not use the red, so you have a lot more white down here if you prefer. That's what that looks like. So now I want to make one for the very top here. So for the very top, I've taken 4 pieces of mesh, also 6 inches long, curl them up together like that, and I'm just going to put 2 pieces of this smaller ribbon on it, and then a longer piece here that can be some little tails coming off the back, and I'm going to use a nice long piece of chenille and wrap all that up. Okay, so we're putting it through the loop here on the very top. Pull it through. So now I can get the 2 ends and tie that right there. And we're going to leave these ends in the back like that, because then I can make like a little loop here, so that then I can hang this from the wall somewhere, or maybe make a little bit of a bigger loop so we can then hang it maybe from a wreath hanger, but I'm just going to hang it on a tack, either on the wall or on a door. So there's a little loop there. And then I'll bring these little strings down, fix my little curlies, fix my ribbon. There we go. And then just kind of fold these up a little bit. And I'm going to trim the ends into little dovetails. And then just kind of bend it a little bit. So there we go. Now this could be left alone, or we could add some ornaments here if we wanted to, some greenery. So let me go and do that just so we can see how it looks with that. Okay, so here I have some Christmas greenery. I purchased this from Hobby Lobby. By the way, pretty much everything that's on my wreath except for the hangers I purchased from Hobby Lobby. You can get your supplies from wherever you wish. So I'm going to cut a couple of pieces out of here. I'm going to cut this one that has a pine cone on it. Just going to cut out the whole bit like that. I'm going to cut one that has these little berries on it. Just cut the whole piece. And I think I'm going to cut one that has this different greenery on it. I think I like this one more. Okay, so we'll cut those. And then these have some little leaves down here. These don't slide up. They're on a separate little stem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right there to create a little stem out of that. This one also had a leaf on it. Let's put it back on there. Trim right as close to it so we'll make separate stems. There we go. So now we have these bits. And we can use those to decorate our hat. Okay, so I'm going to place this like this so that you can see it sideways. I want to place this one there, so I'm just going to cut a little bit off of the stem here. It's too long. And then I'm just going to curl it a little bit at the bottom here. And I'm going to put lots of glue in there and tuck it in there. I'm going to put a little bit of glue behind this pine here so it sticks there as well. I'm going to take the other pieces and do the same. Okay, so I'm adding one last little bit of leaf here, these little holly leaves, the little separate branches that were further down, just to give it a little bit more decor. And there we go. All right, everyone, I have completed my Deco Mesh Christmas hat, and I think it looks really good. And as you saw before I put the greenery, it looked great just with this bottom decorated and our little poof up at the top. But this did add a little bit something extra. Now, when I was wrapping the top part with the mesh, I mentioned that you might be able to see the hanger wire through it. And if you did so, you could add some ribbon on the edge if you wanted to. Well, as you can see, I added this little ribbon that's dangling down. I wasn't even thinking about it, but now that I look at it, I realized this actually would hide the mesh, as I had mentioned before. So once you curl it up like I did, you could add little dots of glue here and there just to keep it so that it doesn't move around, and it'll hide any wire if you feel like you can see it. Now I'm looking at mine and I really can't see it, and I don't think anybody could unless they were like really looking at it, or if I happen to mention, hey, you know, can you see the wire from the hanger in there, and they probably look in there and notice it. But like I said, use some ribbon if you just don't even want to bother with it. Anyhow, I think it looks great. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. And I have a few more Christmas craft ideas that I want to share with you. But if you have anything you want to suggest, go ahead and put that in the comments below. So leave a nice comment below. Let me know what you think. What would you do different if you were going to do this? Have you created something like this already? Give us your thoughts, your tips in the comments below, or your suggestion if you want to see me do something. You can also follow my Facebook page, Trisha's Creations, where you can post pictures of your crafts, or if you want to ask any questions or any suggestions, like I said, for any craft ideas, or a picture of something that maybe you want me to try and recreate for you, then you can post that there. So please follow my Trisha's Creation on Facebook. Make sure you share on your social medias my video, everyone. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that red subscription button, then the notification bell, so you get notified twice a week of when I upload my videos. That's it, everyone. I hope that everyone has a great holiday, and as always, enjoy.